Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the Technical Trader at TechTrader.com. It is Tuesday, the 22nd of May. These are the charts of the day. Kind of a sloppy day in Wall Street. The market certainly was down. I'm not sure it was turnaround Tuesday. We got some testing to do, that's for sure. Still, there was a lot of stocks that were up and down. I'm going to show you longs and shorts today. Starting with ARQL, which has been ramping up. You can see right up in the channel. Take a look at the hourly chart. You can see that really nice move up. And it looks to me like it might be headed towards 4 3/4. And if you look at the daily chart, the top of that channel comes in right about there. On a longer term basis, this could be an $8 stock. We shall see. ELGX, an extension follow through, right up to resistance. For me, the 5.5 area is tough. Today's high was 542. If we get through that, we're going to look at 590, and then potentially something up in that 630, 650 zone. Something up, perhaps up in that zone right there. If we get beyond that longer term, I'm looking at 7.5, but that's down the road. HIIQ had a breakout today. I was watching the stock this morning, and then it popped. Didn't make a note of that. It should have. After coming down and then punching back up again, the stock looks like it may have broken out. The OBV's moving up. The bars have turned green. The volume was pretty solid today for the stock, up $1.25 or 4% on a lousy day in the market. Next target, right about 37.5. We get through that, it could be substantially higher. IQ, fairly new IPO. Looking at it on an hourly basis, you can see it better. One of the reasons why I like it a lot is because of that wedge it formed in the breakout today, right to resistance. Should it get through this level, we're looking at 25 and 27 as potential short term. MRTX popped $1.40 or 4%. It did break out above the 37.60-65 range. 37.5 was the high here, 37.60 there. It got up as high as 38.20, backed off $1. Still, if it follows through, that's what I'm looking for. I'm thinking maybe a move towards about the 43 range, and longer term, or more secondary target at 52. Micron, big day, big news across the board, big tape. It did pull back at the end of the day after getting a 60.50, dropping back $1.50, but it was still up 355 or 6.4% on a mere 111 million shares. That kind of surge may get another day or two. We may see it retest the spike high at 63.40 thereabout. Eventually, I'm looking for 75, but the stock may need to back and fill in this area. We'll see. The bottom line is keep an eye on it. QTNT, a nice pop today, up 68 cents or almost 12% on 1.6 million. Good volume. Took the consolidation zone and broke out through the highs. Now, the only thing to be concerned about in my mind is when you connect the tops across here, kind of resistance is up in that zone, right? About 7. If we get through 7, I'm looking for 7 3/4 to 8.5. Massive inverse head and shoulders, though, could be foretelling a bigger move. REPH popped out across the double top and closed firmly, up 72 cents or 6% on almost 500,000. Good volume for that stock. And you can see we're near the top of the channel, but the momentum could carry it to about 13.5 3/4. Beyond that, secondary targets up around 17. Tandem won't quit. After a day of consolidation, it punched back up again. It's 72 cents or almost 6% on 1,000,006. Not big volume. And if it doesn't get through here, it may pull back. But my momentum could carry this to 14.5 and then 17. I'm not giving up on this one just yet. TWMJF. I really like the way it's acted today, especially in the afternoon when it did this. After the midday pullback, you remember when I gave it to you up in here, I said you may see it closer to 28.5. And we got down to that 28, what was it, 70, something like that. Ran right back up to 30, stalled, and look what it did at the end of the day. Ramped to 30.79. Net it was up 46 cents, but this was a huge day for the stock. 30.81 was the close. And for me, if it opens up and or gaps above 31, this could be 32.5, 33 very quickly. And looking at the daily chart, what attracts me is the breakout of the coil, the run up to resistance, an inside day but a positive one. Look out above. We got up 35.88. This could be a rock star. VNET up for about the last week and a half, only with a couple interruptions, but today up another 38 cents or 5.2%, near in a resistance zone. However, I think momentum could carry this to near 9. What? On the come, I'm looking for this increase in volume and the pop out of the apex could be foretelling or foreshadowing that something is up. First target is 21, second target is 23, 3.25, and then the third target is 26 3/4 if it gets going and if there's a follow through. It's a massive multi-month coil though. And finally on the long side, Zencor today follow through yet again with another 90 cents, 2.5%. Not a big deal, but I like the way it's getting momentum once it's gone through the prior high from May. This one should get to, or could get to 40, 41 zone. Now on the short side, we have some things to look at. ALNY. Well, I gave you this when it was here, and it did come down, but it bounced back to resistance. Note that it's rolling over from that resistance level. If it takes out, and my target's going to be 88. If it takes that out, we're looking at 80 and 75. Beta. Well, multiple waves down. At that point, it was cover your short, and now wait for a consolidation. That's exactly what we got. Easy stop above 24.5 3/4. If it doesn't get above that, it could roll over and see 17.16. Casa, boy, they slammed this one. Breakaway gap to the downside, just a 3-day little bounce, another slam dunk, and then a little wedge. Today it broke down another 78 cents, or almost 4%. I'm actually looking for this stock to make it down to 17. Casey's, well, this stock has gotten slam dunked from 128 all the way down to under 100, but this wedge that formed in the breakdown today foretells more downside, in my opinion. I think we're going to see 90 and then 82. Clorox broke the head and shoulders top, or whatever that is, formed a big bear wedge. Now it may be ready, it may not be ready, but I do think when the next drop comes and it takes out this channel, or at least tests the bottom of it in this zone here, Clorox could be down around 108 and 10, and then perhaps near 100. Ebix. Well, I gave you a short on this one there, and it went up a little higher. May have taken out some people because it went above the 50 and we got above this level, which I didn't want to see. But now it's come down again. It's been down 3 days in a row and 6 of the last 7. Looks to me like if this rolls over, especially if it takes out 72, this could be headed for 69, 65 or lower, maybe much lower. Edgewell, EPC. The stock has been in a downtrend since Susie spotted it for us. Right in that 60 range. In January, the stock rolled over. It got down to under 40 and now forming another wedge. Where's your next target? Probably 37.8. ESNT, head and shoulder top wedge. We gave you a short on it there. Came down hard, wedging again. If this breaks, I'm looking for 28.9. Finisar, another bear wedge in a very nasty downtrend, foretelling me, or foreshadowing the fact that this might be headed for 13, maybe 11 at some point. iRobot. Wedge breaks, another wedge forms, roll over Beethoven. If that occurs, I'm thinking that this stock is going to run down into that zone. And that would be here. Watch this. At some point, I think you're going to see 48. 15 points. But it's got to break the double bottom first around 55. Overstock. Is it ready? It might be. It sure looks like a 1, 2, 3, and 4. If that breaks, I'm looking for 2022 zone. Radian. Head and shoulder top breakdown wedge, or actually a bear flag. See it? That broke hard with a gap, and then a wedge is formed. If that breaks down, a test of 14 and maybe as low as 12 3/4 would incur. Signet Jewelers, yet another bear wedge. I don't know how far down this goes, but I can say it ain't a pretty picture. Here's your weekly chart. If we break below 34, we may be headed to mid-20s. It's more, I think that's likely. How's that? Silicon. Well, I wanted to wait for something to develop, and it sure developed a nice little bear wedge, bear flag in there, didn't it? If this rolls over, this is likely to get down into the high 20s. Teradyne. I want to also wait for the snapback. Remember where this thing got crushed 2 weeks ago. Now it's back to resistance at the neckline and near the gap. If this is a 1-2, then 3 could take it down to 30 or less. And then Tree, T-R-E-E. Boy, did that break down. And now forming another bear flag. It looks to me like it may have started to break today down another $10. And if that breaks here, we're looking for 240 and 220. And finally, YY, I think, completed the top, came down, and now has a rising bear wedge. This is a 1-2, and wave 3 takes me to the mid-70s. That's 30 points from here, folks. We shall see. That's the long and short of it tonight. Everybody take care and let's make some money tomorrow. Good night.